push and go live. Okay. Welcome everyone to the Saturday chapter 20 joining, looking at what our experiences have been this week with chapter 20. And this is going out to all the chapter 20 partners and anyone else who is interested in looking with Jesus at the desires below the level of our awareness that block our awareness of divinity. So I have my mighty companion Laura here. And Renee is with another project at the moment, and she will join us shortly. So let's start with the light. And ask for Jesus' guidance in what it is we want to look at for the healing of our mind and a service to the whole. And this is a great way to begin every chapter 20 joining. Jesus, first bring in the light. The light is here, the light of infinite being. And then one of the partners that's joining can ask for Jesus' guidance. Jesus, what is the most useful for us to look at? What would you have us look at right now for the healing of our mind? Now with chapter 20, it's right there. You don't have to cook up anything. Although sometimes when you come into your chapter 20 joinings, there may be an upset that's just occurred or an upset that's ongoing. And if that's the case, then the guidance has been from Jesus to start your session with, I have an upset, and let's ask Jesus what the upset is. And what Jesus teaches us in the Course in Miracles is that I'm never upset for the reason I think. And so usually I think I know exactly why I'm upset. But what the training has been now with chapter 20 and with the ongoing joining that we do here at the center, looking at desires, as you come into the joining with, I have an upset. Jesus, show me what my upset is all about. And then you get quiet and you pray and you open up to that inner voice. So if it so happens that you're joining and you've been joining and going through chapter 20 and there's an upset, go ahead and start your session with the upset and pray about that. That's immensely useful. So Laura, I'm hearing to call on you. Yes, you, our faithful companion here. Laura has joined 3 times, I think, this week on chapter 20, whereas I've been joining a lot, but not on chapter 20. However, I have been through chapter 20 a couple times. So Laura, was there anything you were hearing this week in your joinings with your mighty companions or 2 other that you've been joining with that Jesus is prompting you about right now?
Well, we've been looking at 2 that are very close. They're all very close, but it was that we believe we are without love. We believe we are without heaven. So we create an experience that we are without love or without heaven. So any experience that would seem like it was less than the absolute perfect peace of God would be something we would want to look at with him.
What was it that he showed you about this desire?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to refer to my notes. I can remember the desires.
Yeah. So this was one of the many desires, as Laura said, that comes out of chapter 20 of Jesus, a New Covenant. And it seems like sometimes that these desires are very similar. Well, they are. And yet Jesus points us out to a different aspect that's held in the subconscious to deny divinity. So yeah, they're not the same, but they go richer and deeper to really uncover what the blocks are. Finding anything?
Well, one was that believing that perfect love or the Father has abandoned me, and actually knowing that I pretended to abandon him. The veil is in my own mind, which I've long been aware of. But that doesn't mean that there aren't, moments of forgetting that it's always a pause and be still and find out what's really going on in there. And like Mary said, it will I always go right back to it's like the original separation in the mind. And sometimes Jesus has to slow me down because I just want to go for the big clear out. And he'll be like, let's just take this one step at a time. Because I know that I'm the one who sort of left heaven, so to speak, or took a little mini vacation. It doesn't always feel like a vacation, but how joyful it is. And just the acknowledgement of that, like the joy, the natural joy and peace of God just bubbles up, talking about it, in this process, it's called admitting it, which for a while took me to get some getting used to when I first started working with joining in light, because I always thought about it as sharing it with Jesus rather than like admitting I've sinned, which always seemed to carry a heavier vibration for me. But I'm getting this like really, really see that there's something in there I'm relishing and I'm digging it, and it seems like separation, and so like let that come up as something to not be afraid of seeing. And then with these mighty companions, we're in a very safe environment where Jesus is working with us, and where all of us know that we're very honest about when something arises. It's like, oh no, I need to look at this, but it's like, oh yes, I need to look at this, instead of oh no, because we can be so good at feeling afraid then of bringing out of the subconscious what might feel so difficult to share, or we'd be ashamed of sharing it, or there's some sort of heavy burden that we're carrying, we can't let it out, and Jesus is like, no, I already know everything that's in there. I want you to bring it to me. So
yeah, what I'm hearing right now out of what you're saying is that it seems like the whole purpose of the Course in Miracles and Jesus the New Covenant, which is for me has been the next natural step after A Course in Miracles, is that I am so in denial of denying divinity. I think that I acknowledge divinity and I know what it's about. And so in this practice in chapter 20 of looking at the denials, we're admitting that I actually do have that desire. And it may look horrific, like I want to kill my brother. And you're like, no, I don't, I'm not, yeah. But what this starts to uncover is that below my level of awareness, and sometimes not very far below my level of awareness, I'm seeing anger, I'm seeing rage, and I want to cover it over and say, no, I want to deny that that's what's going on. And so this admitting of the desire is recognizing that I have that desire and I'm going to look at it as long as I need to look at it, as long as Spirit tells me to look at it, until it no longer has that hit. It no longer has that energy, which is really running me. I think my conscious mind is running me. All this stuff going on, these beliefs, these desires are running me. Yeah. Yeah, so this whole process, as Laura's pointing out, Jesus has given this whole way to really dig deep into the mind, to look at what's underneath running us. And Laura was talking about honesty of God. And also Jesus in New Covenant talks about below our level of awareness is all this stuff running us. And when we start looking and admitting and really asking for honesty of God, Jesus, show me whether or not I really have this desire, and not just say, oh, well, maybe a little bit, or no, I don't have that desire. But pausing and really asking, and you're not listening to your ego. This whole thing is about listening to spirit, the voice within, to the voice of Jesus. And when you start listening to that voice and not the little voice that's going, oh no, everything's fine, I'm innocent, nothing's going on. When you're not listening to that voice and you're really deeply listening, and sometimes I notice in the joining circles, it's quiet for a while because we're all looking. Honesty of God, what Jesus, and we're listening, Jesus, what is this? Do I really have this desire? And show me, show me in fullness so that I can see it. Otherwise, it continues to run us. So taking these desires and sticking with a desire, because sometimes we want to throw in the kitchen sink. Oh, well, I'm feeling abandoned right now, or I'm really upset with my brother right now. No, come back and focus on the desire. I have a desire that I am not loved by God, or whatever the desire is that you're looking at in the moment that you're admitting to, and just staying focused on that. What value do I see in this desire? Am I holding or releasing right now with this desire? And you're not asking your ego self. You're asking Jesus to show you, because there's a real difference in the answers you're going to get. And so the quiet, a lot of times, or the quiet is that opportunity to get silent and go within and ask and listen.
Yeah, and what comes in for me is, we all know how to do this. We've really done it our whole life, because we kind of know when something is niggling at us, and then that more information will rise up, and that's like that invitation. It's a natural invitation to be shown by our true self what's really going on. Thanks, Mary.
Yeah, so often here at the center in particular, when we all join together, which we do at least twice a day for quite a length of time, someone will say, well, I have a desire to feel like there is loss in salvation. Or I'm feeling upset because I have to leave my son, or whatever it is. And what usually comes through, if not always, is that as we go deeper and deeper, we see that the underlying desire is different than what the superficial, you might say, upset is. It's really a remarkable process, because here again, it's not the personal identity that's doing this. We're all tuning into spirit, and what may come out of my brother is exactly what it is I need to hear to open up something that I hadn't seen at all about this desire or this incident that seems to be upsetting me. And as we all share, as you and your partner share, and you ask Jesus to take you deep down to where all you want, every cell in your body wants this, to be separated from God, or whatever it is. You can see, you've gone deep enough to see that that's what the consciousness is playing. That's the play in consciousness, to deny God. When you go down and you see that, And then you ask, is there another way to see this, Jesus, Holy Spirit? Is there a way that you can help me release this desire from my subconscious so that it really gets completely cleared out? And sometimes it seems like you have to take the same desire and go over it a couple of times. You can ask in the same session, okay, Jesus, is there more to see here with this desire? And then be quiet and listen and speak what you hear. Or it could be that it will come up in another session, because there's still so much buried there, and there's still energy that's kind of hanging on.
Yeah, and you can sometimes see that the mind like is working for an explanation or thinks something needs to change in form, and that whole mind, in my experience, can just be dismissed, because what's waiting is this radiant light that is, there isn't like an answer that the mind seeks, that we're used to thinking a better dream.
And there may come a moment in your joining where you're prompted to do the light test. And that is the light here? And get very quiet and check in. The light is always present. We are the light. We deny that and tune in to the light. And like Laura was saying, when you're tuning into that light, that radiant light, everything else disappears, and it puts a whole new awareness on that desire, that desire actually was all made up and does not really exist. And there are various ways of arriving at that. Sometimes bringing it to the light, asking for a miracle. Jesus, show me a different way to look at this. I really want to see this differently. I can see that I just made it up, or I can see that it just brings suffering. It doesn't bring me what I think I want. It doesn't bring me happiness. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to invest in this kind of suffering anymore.
Yeah, and then it's like Jesus when he has that kind of permission, that real openness and willingness, he can get in through the cracks. Like, my job is to see it and to release it, and to sort of give him command of cleaning up the beliefs, and how that occurs in the subconscious from the superconscious. However all that works, we don't even spend a lot of time trying to analyze that process, but just like a lightening occurs, a lightening up happens, and he calls it, asking for the miracle. And is there more to see? And let it be done unto me is a phrase I love to use.
And what happens, what happens out of this daily, hopefully you and your partner are able to join on a daily basis. What happens is just, there's a movie out called The Lightness of Being. I don't remember the rest of the title, Jim Carrey. But it's just things that you just notice, wow, I'm not as reactionary as I usually was. Things are lighter. And even in the session, at the end of the session, when you've given this up for a miracle, you can just feel that lightness start to come in, where what was so constricted and so seemed to really have me, there's more spaciousness around it, or it's completely gone. And the process of doing this daily for an hour, 50 minutes, 45 minutes with your partner, it's not something that sometimes it can be spoken of in words, but you just notice that you're having a whole different experience of life. You're having a whole different experience of your relationship with God. So, anything else? Renee, you got anything you want to say?
Sure. Hello. Lately, the reminder has been from Jesus to stay with him, and that everything that's showing up is a lesson for me to see differently, so that I can look directly at the decision to not be at peace, and join with my brother and look at that, and let Jesus show me what the upset is. So I'm seeing that I don't have any idea. I have no idea. Like he says in the Course, I'm
Never upset.
I'm never upset for the reason I think. And so that's been kind of on the forefront right now. And we looked at desire not to bless our brother, not to value our brother, and that blessing our brother is damnation, which without chapter 20, I would never look at that. I would probably never see that I have that desire below my level of awareness. So that's one thing. It's bringing to light many desires that I'm hiding from myself through a decision to have an experience of something that's not peace. So I feel like that this desire is cleared though, and that this every joining is an opportunity to bless our brother and bless ourselves in this way of giving and receiving as one. So it's a celebration, and also we have an app coming out, or it's out actually, and so it's really a celebration of light right now, and yeah.
Yeah.
Go for God.
The app is a phone app for iPhones and Androids, and it contains many, many resources for talking directly with Jesus, with that inner voice. And there's videos, there's questionnaires, there's a place to ask for a miracle or post a situation that's come up and you're upset. It's beautifully done. It's beautifully done. And so if you're interested in something like that, then just contact us here at the center. And we're also posting information on our Facebook page, on our website, and then through contact with various groups. So,
and tonight we have a live, I'm not sure all the details.
Yeah, talking
but I
with
know
Jesus.
We're going live tonight.
Yes. Tonight will again be another talk from Jesus about how to talk with him and some of the blocks to that, and how to look directly at that and see that we just made it all up. Like Renee was saying, it was a choice somehow we made that, oh no, that doesn't work for me, not doing that. And to recognize that, no, that's not getting me what I want, which is happiness and peace of mind. So that'll be on tonight at 7 o'clock on the Joining in Light Zoom channel. So anything else, Mighty Companions? Thank you for joining us, whether you joined us live or whether you join us by watching this video. This will be posted in our on our app, and it has a regular news feed. So within about an hour, whatever we do live gets posted on the news feed, and then everything current comes up. And so it's another way to stay in touch, and another way to access all the light training that Jesus is given right now. It's like taking everything we learned from the course. Okay, now is the time to talk directly to Jesus, to have that relationship. And that's what it's all about. That's where we see that there's no separation, and that voice is real and it's always present. And all we have to do is ask and listen and follow. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. See you next Saturday.